Hi, today I'm going to make a Gozleme with you from our book Simply Delicious, and we'll just get started and I can explain while we go along. So here is our recipe that I've pulled up on Guided Cooking. If I just press start, my scales straight away come up so I can pour the ingredients in without needing to use measure cups. So I'm just going to add in the milk. So now the first step is to make the dough. And while the dough is rising, then you can prepare your fillings. So adding in some milk. And now I'm just adding in an egg. Going straight in. Some olive oil. And what I love about the scales on the TM6, I don't know if you can notice, is that they go in 1 gram increments. So when you've got an oil drizzle that's kind of slow, it's still going to register it along the way and be really accurate, which is nice. So I'm just adding in some extra virgin olive oil. And oh, there we go, perfect. Now some yogurt. Just got some Greek style yogurt that's going in. So it's different to your normal bread dough here, although naan, I've seen some naan recipes that have yogurt in it as well, which is really yummy. So different texture. Oh, there we go. With the yogurt. Oh, I could hear that I skipped a step, and so I'm just putting in 2 teaspoons of yeast, and I just use dry yeast. When I buy my yeast, I like to keep it in the freezer so that it stays fresh, because yeast can deactivate, like it can go bad. So I'm just going to turn here. It's telling me to turn the speed to number 6 for 4 seconds. So also, if you can see a little line here, all I have to do is match that line. It's telling me to keep the measure cup inserted. Sure, I can do that. And now turn to speed 2. So now this time, the timer is set for 3 minutes, and you'll notice here that it's set to 50 degrees. So here's where the Thermomix is cooking. And it's just warming up that mixture so that the yeast can activate before we add our next ingredients. At this point, to multitask, I'm going to press these 3 dots. And if you can see, yeah, the screen says I can choose to cancel the recipe, go to my scales, or my recipe detail. If I go to recipe detail, I can look ahead and see what's next. So I'm going to look ahead and say, okay, I need to go get out my flour, baking powder, sugar, and salt to complete the ingredients for my dough. So that's what I would do in that time while this mixture is heating up, just to be multitasking. But I love how it's on the screen, so you don't have to look ahead or like have the book open or have the app open on your phone. It's just here ready to go. But for the sake of you not watching that process, I'm just going to pause the recording, and I'll do that a few times while I'm cooking the Gozleme so that you can just see the interesting steps, not me waiting around for the Thermomix. Because normally what I do is go clean up around the house, do laundry, help kids with whatever they need doing, that type of thing. So I'll see you in a sec. Okay, so that's just finished. I'll show you what's next. It's telling me to add in the flour. So in the interest of your time, I've actually pre-weighed, because remember I showed you could weigh while it's going. So I put a bowl up the top and I just weighed the flour in, and then I actually added the next few ingredients as well. It's asking me for baking powder, a little bit of sugar, and a little bit of salt. So I already added those in. And so this is really quick, putting the lid on, and now we're kneading. This is our dough mode. And it's going to be a little bit noisy, but I want to tell you, in guided cooking, it comes on automatically. But if you're doing manual mode, you've got all these modes here. So you can see all the different modes that you can access on the Thermomix if you're doing manual cooking, just out of your head or from a book. And if you swipe, you can see we've got some space for some more modes. So they're going to be coming via software update, just at random times. Whenever Volek decide they want to give us a new mode, it just will come via a software update. I will pause till the kneading is done. So our kneading of our dough has finished, and it's just asking me to transfer onto a silicone mat. So I grab my Thermomat here, which you can get from the mix shop. It has the measurements, the ruler down the edge, and if you're wanting to work with pastry for pies and things like that, you've got the circles in the middle as well, which is just handy. So it's telling me to transfer onto the mat and work it into a ball. So I'll just put it right in the middle there. I don't know if you can see, actually I'll just show you. The bottom of the blades here, if I twist that back and forward a bit, the dough should just release and come onto the mat. And you can see it's pretty clean in there now. Well, I mean, not clean, but the dough's all out of it. I would swish some water around in there to get that clean to move on to our next steps. But here is a nice ball of dough, and I'm just going to wrap that up. Kind of loose, not too loose, just hopefully you can see what I've done there. That is going to sit in there to rise for half an hour. So I'm going to just set that aside on my bench over there and move on to the next steps, because it's telling me that while the dough is rising, that I can carry on and make the filling so that it's ready. So, but I'm actually just going to clean this bowl and get some of those ingredients out. So give me 2 seconds. Okay, so we're moving on to the filling section of the Gozleme now. And I'm going to grate some cheese. I've just cut it in cubes. Anytime you're grating cheese, because it's harder than it seems, it's better to take the ease off the blades and cut it into smaller kind of cubes, just to save it some pressure. And I love grating cheese in here because, you know, there's no additives in your cheese. Then I know when you buy it grated, it's got some sort of coating on it. So I'm just going to do this for 6 seconds. Okay, it's asking me to transfer into a bowl, which I have here. And you can see the cheese all nicely grated. Just get it all out. You don't have to be too diligent here, because we're going to be processing some more ingredients next as well. There we go. So here I've got some mint and parsley. So it's asking me for the mint and the parsley to go in. Oh, and press that too soon. And 60 grams of baby spinach leaves, all nicely going into the bowl. Lid on, and you can just see how nicely this chops herbs. 2 seconds, and it's asking me to put it in the bowl with the cheese. I do want to show you. Well, actually, it'll be easier if I show you if I just tip it out. But it's just beautiful and green, and because of the high-grade stainless steel and the Solingen steel blades, nothing oxidizes in here, which means when you're chopping herbs or spinach or whatever you're chopping in here, it does stay nice and green and retain those vitamins that can be bruised by chopping on a board, depending on the quality of your knives. So without washing the bowl, which is nice, it's asking me to carry on adding some oil. I've got my oil drizzler here again. It's so slow. my drizzler. Should just open that. I'm actually empty, so give me 2 seconds. Just going to pour it out of here and hope I don't do too much, which is easy to do out of the giant bottle. Next, adding in some garlic. So I'll just show you, I've got 5 cloves of garlic in here and an onion cut in half. And in here, I've got some cumin, coriander, and paprika. So I'm just going to tip all of that in and then asks for it. But normally I wouldn't be pre-prepared, but good for people watching. Oh, I need to actually press it. So this is going to chop now, 3 seconds. 3 seconds to chop all of our garlic, onions, and some spices together. I'll just show you, it's asking me to scrape down, but I'll just show you the texture I've got here with that. It's all nicely, really nicely chopped. So I'm just scraping that down because the next step is to cook that. You'll release all the flavors of those spices. It's so handy chopping and cooking in the same bowl, so you're not making any mess. It's just all in there. So 3 minutes to cook that, and then I'll show you when it's ready. Okay, so that has been cooking really nicely. I'll just show you. Well, more, you can't smell it, sorry, but oh, my glasses are fogging up. I don't know if you can see, it's just been cooking away nicely. The onion, garlic, and spices, so it's smelling very nice over here. So I'm going to add my minced beef, which you can do yourself in a Thermomix, and I normally do. Just for tonight's sake, I did grab some mince at my butcher, who assures me it's beautiful. And I've got a bit more than it says, and that's okay. Doesn't matter. And now it's asking me to put in a tablespoon of plain flour, and it's also going to ask me for some salt and pepper. Salt and pepper. So all that goes in. Oh yeah, it's asking for the lemon juice, which I've already squeezed here. Cool. Lovely. That was about half a lemon. So now all that is going to cook together and our filling will be ready. So this is going for 4 minutes at 100 degrees. Now this time you can see it's on reverse. So when it's on reverse, that means that the blades are going anti-clockwise on the blunt side of the blade. So that's what you would put it on if you're wanting to cook most dinners really, but like stir fries, curries, anything that you don't want to be chopping while it's cooking. And that's why we've got it on reverse now while the mince is in there. I'll show you when that. Okay, that's done now, and it's telling me just to set aside into a bowl, and that needs to slightly cool because otherwise it will be too hot when we cook the gozleme as well. Same thing when you're making meat pies or something like that. You need to make the mixture and let it cool so that when you go to cook the pastry, the meat reheats up again without actually really burning your mouth when it's ready. So I'll just show you that mixture here. Just cooked mince in those spices and onion, garlic and everything. That's just telling me now to wait a feta because that's going to be the next, but it's actually asking me now to cool the mixture for a few minutes. So I'll just put this in the fridge and then in a few minutes I'll come and show you the next step. I've got some laundry to sort. Okay, I've only left this to cool a minute because I actually really just want to keep going, but it's asking me to add now the feta into the beef mixture. And you can use whatever feta you want, doesn't matter. I've used Greek, but Danish would be fine. So, and now I'm going to mix it in with our spinach and cheese that we had from earlier. Do you remember? And it's time to cook. It looks okay. So I'm mixing it in here. Can't really see what I'm doing. So the cheese will start melting now in here a little bit, but that's okay. It'll all just be a nice mixture together. Just combine as best you can. Although the mint and parsley will be in it as well. Yeah, that is looking good to me. Okay, so I'll set that aside while just making sure there's no big clumps of cheese somewhere. That's all good. So now it's time to roll out our dough. It's been rising half an hour now, so you can see we can't see, can you see it now? It's really risen quite a lot. And it's telling me to divide into 16 pieces. So I just normally get it into a log and just keep halving it until I've got as many pieces as I want. Okay, so I've already used my spatula. Okay, here we go. So I'm just gonna cut that in half, and then I want 8 out of each side, so cut that in half. Again. And this is rough. I guess if you were doing it for guests or wanted it to look particularly pretty, you might spend a bit more time doing this evenly. You can weigh it so that each ball is the same. It says to approximately get 40 grams each. If you were wanting them to look perfect, you could easily just put on your scales and do that. But I am just doing it quite roughly because it doesn't matter to me. So there we go. That should be 16 pieces. Is that right? Oh, but I need them out of my way because now it's telling me to roll out each one into a large circle, and I've got my circle on my mat, which is really handy. So I'm going to do it. I'll see how I go. I need these. I don't know. And again, I'm not too worried if my circles aren't perfect, because I'm not some sort of professional chef. I am just a home cook, and my family will be happy with whatever. So yeah, but this guide on the mat really is quite helpful. I think I've done an okay job there. So in the interest of your viewing, I will just do one and show you. It's telling me to place 2 tablespoons of the filling onto 1/2 of the dough, leaving a border. Then we're going to fold over and enclose the filling, seal the edges, and then I'm going to cook it on medium to high heat. So I have already turned my fry pan on over here, which I'll move in a second. Actually, I'll move that now so you can see what I'm doing. Just get a bit of the mixture, about 2 tablespoons, so maybe a bit more. You don't want to overfill them though, that's the only thing, because then they'll burst. That's looking pretty good. So I'm just going to fold it over, and our mat is non-stick, so that's really handy for that. Just enclose that there. and flatten it out a bit. I've got a bit of air in there, so I'm just going to smudge the air out. That was great. Okay. Oh, is this going to move for you? I want to fry this in front of you. Really, so sticking to my bench. All right, I probably did a bit too much oil, but this is not a non-stick kind of pan. This is just a old pan I got when I was first married 15 years ago. So I'm just going to place it on and let that cook. I'm going to do 2 to 3 minutes each side, and then it says to serve with lemon wedges. But while that's cooking, what I will do, show you what else I would serve it with. And I love the beetroot salad from the basic cookbook, and I think that's a perfect side to the Gozleme. So while the mince was cooking, I cut up the veggies for that, because it takes 1 minute. I don't peel the carrots, just cut them. I do peel the beetroot. I don't peel the apple, just quarter it. And I love this chopping board. You can get this from the mix shop too, because you do your work on it, and then when you grab the handle, see how it curves up, and it fits really nicely into the bowl. So this is our beetroot salad. Just carrot, apple, beetroot. I'm going to put in a bit of oil. About a tablespoon or 2 tablespoons, whatever, just drizzle it in. And I've got some lemon juice here, which is always good. Some salt and pepper. And you'll see why I love this salad, aside from the fact that it probably takes me maybe 2 minutes to peel and cut the veggies, but then when it's in here, it only takes 5 seconds. So and then I stop it after 5 seconds, and there's our salad. The lighting isn't great. Oh, how about I pull some up for you? So that's what I'd be serving on the side of my Gozleme. It's a very nutrient-dense salad, really tasty, delicious. You could use whatever dressing you want as well. Just the lemon juice, oil, salt and pepper was my choice. But yeah, it goes really well with pretty much everything. Let me check this and see what's happening here. Yeah, that's looking really good. So normally, obviously, I would get a few prepared and cook them all at the same time, like have a few cooking at the same time to be a bit quicker. We're a family of 6, so I'd do that a bit quicker. But for the sake of showing you today, I did want to just be quick. But yeah, I will just start, while that one's cooking, I will just start rolling up my next one. And be able to show you the end result. So yeah, I think this is a really good, this isn't one of the quickest Thermomix recipes. I mostly do the recipes that take only a few minutes of my time, and then about 20 minutes of the Thermomix's time to cook while I leave the kitchen. This one's a little bit more involved, but I did want to show you how this one is done, because once you see it, you might be more confident to do it yourself. And it is really delicious for a night where you do have a bit of extra time, and a really great budget meal as well. It really spreads quite far. To get 16 Gozlemes, we wouldn't eat them all in one night, and you've got leftovers for the next night, or if you're having guests, it's really good with a side of salad. This is a litre of salad, so that goes really far as well. So let me just make sure that's done. We're really only needing to cook the pastry, because if you'll remember, the filling was pre-cooked, so as long as the pastry's cooked, it's ready. And break out and get some salad ready. This salad is really nice served on top of baby spinach and with crumbled feta over the top as well. That's another really nice way we like to serve this salad. But that is looking beautifully done. Actually looks visually better if I turn it that way. So there we have the Gozleme from Simply Delicious with a side of beetroot salad from the Basic Cookbook. And I hope that's been helpful.